Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And a development seems to have been made with regard to the 12th CDL spot we are hoping to get here for the CDL in 2022. Hastro discussing the possibility of this deal being closed very soon indeed. Lots to discuss today on what organisations might be involved and also which players they might potentially think of picking up. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. It's the best thing you can do to help the channel reach new people. Please consider subscribing as well if you have not yet already. Firstly, there's some scraps. Any top Halo teams need a Slayer, let me know. So, yeah, scraps potentially making that transition over to Halo now. We've seen a lot of this really from some of the European guys the last, even Mork's right going over there as well. We've seen over the last couple of weeks. Totally makes a fair bit of sense. Of course, if there is now a 12th team coming in, maybe scraps could get an opportunity there, right, if he stays on that side of things. He was certainly talking about Warzone creation, right, but, the competitive itch still seems to be there to some degree. Maybe trying to make this transition over to Halo like some others have done. Whether that'll be successful, though, that, of course, is another question. Wanted to discuss this also from Nature because this I thought was remarkable. 100 Thieves raised a $60 million Series C round of investment yesterday, which valued them at $460 million, I believe, which is, that's a pretty absurd number. Just wanted to shout out Nature, to be honest. I wonder what his net worth is right now. It's probably pretty substantial, but it also means they can do some really cool things. So, yeah, 460 mil worth, apparently, for 100 Thieves. I think FaZe said that when they're doing their, their public, SPAC thing relatively soon, they're going to be valued at, $1 billion or something, which I'm like, okay, so is FaZe really worth double what 100 Thieves is worth? But whatever the case might be, could be some really cool stuff coming as a result of this. As Clay goes, Legends event yesterday, $60 million Series C rounds announced today. Coincidence? Maybe not. And as Maniak says, 100T had to raise 60 mil just to pay me at Octane. So yeah, maybe Octane's catching a fair bit of a bag as a result of this. But cool to see regardless, I thought. This also, just to kind of clear the air on this, if you guys saw this and were kind of wondering what's going on, as Maniak tweeted out yesterday, guys, pay your taxes, #free formers. So some people looked at this and said, okay, wow, formers in jail for tax evasion or whatever. No, that is just bait. If you take what Maniak says seriously on the timeline all the time, then you're going to get baited at a fair, quite often, to be honest. But anyway, this came out there were some tweets from Unlawful and these guys, right? Formal is in jail. What's going on? Apparently for not paying his taxes. That's what I'm reading. #free Formal. There's no possible chance you guys believe this, right? Says Formal in the replies. So yeah, don't worry about it. Formal's not in jail, at least for now. We'll see how that one goes going forwards. But yeah, just wanted to mention that because I thought it was funny. This then from Pioneers. This I thought was quite the surprise, frankly. But Pioneers are kind of doing some good things in the Valorant side right now, and they decide to dip from Call of Duty, which is pretty much the last bastion, apart from maybe UYU and a couple of other organizations that are still around Call of Duty on the challenger side. There's really not many left, right? And it's kind of crazy looking at some of the other esports right now, especially Valorant, for example. Pioneers, there's so many teams that aren't in the official league or whatever. They aren't in the World Championship, for example, over in that side of things, that are still competing as organizations in kind of trying to get to that point. In Call of Duty, outside of the CDL, all the organizations have basically disappeared pretty much over the last few years. And you can't really blame them, honestly, given that the rate of return is basically non-existent right now because Challengers isn't well supported maybe as it should be. But as Pioneers say, we are parting ways with COD Challengers. We're saddened to be departing. We've been in the scene almost 2 years and will continue to support these great players from afar. With the current ongoing legal ramifications Activision Blizzard is facing and the deteriorating Challengers ecosystem, we no longer feel this is the Call of Duty scene we had hopes to be a part of this season. We wish the players the best in their future endeavors. Some of these kind of issues with the game right now, and also with the kind of the state of the CDL in general and the support for challengers and these types of questions, is taking the toll on what these organizations think, and also the potential actual upside of their investment into these players, which largely might be non-existent. So I understand that really from the Pioneer side. I would not want to run an organization in challengers. Let's be honest. I'm not really sure how you're making any money from it, to be perfectly honest, at the present time. So I can kind of understand why these organizations are dipping out. But of course, what it does mean, because this was Censor's team, right? Censor was part of the Pioneers, and he's now an unrestricted free agent alongside the rest of his squad, Brack, Zinx, and Proto, and their coach as well, looking for an organization to represent. I think they might have a tough time finding it, quite frankly. They might be able to pull it off. There could be some other organizations still looking to give it a run for their money, but still, I think it's just tough to see really the state of challengers right now, and really the game in general, that so many organizations that have been in Call of Duty and supported it for so many years are now just out of there, and these teams effectively in challengers have no organization. They're just competing for themselves with the intention to get into the Pro League. Definitely should show the CDL really that there's a lack of infrastructure probably being provided to challengers to actually make this worthwhile for some of these organizations to come through. And as Ake says, with KCPs like Kansas City Pioneers exiting, to my knowledge, 0 organizations remain in challengers. I think UIU might still be there and thereabouts, but there's also no CDL Academy teams either really coming through either. It's looking extremely likely the CDL is going to run with only 11 franchises. We'll talk about that that here in a second, because Hastro does not believe that's going to be the case. Also, and Aix has to throw in something about the stock market. To make things work in a completely unrelated way, Activision is trading at a 52-week low. Understandable with all the shenanigans going on as of late. But, as someone who's watched for the last 15 years and growing with it to see whatever you want to classify it as now. So people not happy, understandably so. But let's talk about something a little bit more positive then, because, the fact that there's no 12th CDL team, that was like, okay, what's going on here? Apparently, we are going to be getting one. As Hastro says, quick update on that 12th CDL team. We are still discussing the transfer with multiple interested ownership groups, the earliest of which we are working towards closing with. These things take time, but I'm optimistic we will have 12 teams in the CDL for 2022. You all deserved an update. Now, look, as a savvy business person, Hastro is going to say that there's multiple interested ownership groups. I do have a tendency to believe him here, but at the same time, if he says there's only like 1 or 2 ownership groups that are interested, then the ownership group that actually is interested and is going to close the deal, they can negotiate a much better deal, right? If Hastro can say and is making it very clear to the public, there's a lot of organizations interested, then, the one that actually is going to close on the deal, they can't negotiate down a much lower buy-in price because the demand isn't there within the community right now, or within the scene in general, in the investment space. So, obviously he's going to say something like that, but I don't think he would say this exactly how he said it if it wasn't true that actually they were close to closing some sort of deal. And it does surprise me in a way. Like, Challengers is obviously a massive mess. No organization wants to be there, but a lot of big ownership groups are still interested in getting into the CDL. You can argue whether that's a good or a bad idea, but some ownership groups are still definitely interested, which is cool to see. And hopefully they're going to make something happen here, because for whatever reason, Envy actually acquired this 12th spot from an NRG, right? I think there must have been something going on where they were forced to acquire it, because that obviously is something that's not easy for them to take on and then sell off straight away. They're probably going to take a loss on that deal, right? So maybe there was something that forced them to do that. But as Hastro goes on to say, the league has been extremely helpful and hardworking during this process. They want what's best for the entire community. Hope to give you guys good news as soon as we can. And I'm sure there's great people over at the CDL that are trying to do the best for the league. But it's just like probably the Activision and the higher ups and whoever's really calling the shots up there in terms of like how much support competitive gets, they might not necessarily be doing the best job. But those are where the questions come from, right? What's going on here with this 12th CDL spot? What organizations could be interested? Like, look, we've talked about Dr. Disrespect, we've talked about E-United, but you're also looking at some of these big orgs, the likes of TSM and these type of stuff, but maybe it's some other ownership group that comes through. Because we know that like Washington, they wanted to buy a spot. Is it one of those kind of like Overwatch League teams that also wants to get a spot somewhere or other? There was even talk about like Damwon Gaming or whatever, like a Korean team potentially looking to get involved as well. Not sure how that would work. So hopefully something gets set in stone relatively soon. Of course, also if a team does come in, what players are they going to pick up, right? I would think that Method has got to be relatively close to the top of the list. You've got to pick up a very similar team to what Washington were trying to do. I think they were going to go for Methods, Paulex, Vivid, and Venom, I think was the team. Well, no, it was Teacher Halley was the squad, but now they're playing with Venom or something like that's going on over there. But some of those players, like even Scrap's could have been in the conversation, right? This type of stuff, that's probably who they'll go for, because there's not really many other players on the market left remaining there that could be a good option to pick up. So I imagine that's what they'll do if, of course, this does get confirmed. But the turnaround time here is going to be very rapid indeed, with we imagine that the CDL beginning in, late January, early February sometime, with any luck. And as Astro says, want my true feelings on the state of Call of Duty. It's kind of like when you have to yank the starter rope on the lawnmower a good few times before you get a fresh cut of grass. So, of course, he's going to be optimistic and bullish on the future of the Call of Duty League, but I thought it was a kind of a nice way to explain things really from his perspective on how he's seen many other esports go. But yeah, certainly a lot of work still remaining to be done. Wanted to run through this as well, because yesterday we looked at the fact that Standy tweeted this out where he said, you getting these maps? I don't see them posted, right? The scrims that Rokkr had up against OpTic Texas, because there's been some talk that Minnesota haven't been having the greatest time in scrims as well so far in this game. This was the scrim set the CDL Scrim Intel does go on to post. I think he was watching the Merseyside derby, so didn't get around to it initially. But in the end, Rokkr actually win this one 4-3, but I think they rematched actually last night. This was 2 days ago, and and they actually had a much better result to the OpTic guys. So Standy also tweets this out. Like, obviously it's incredible how many tweets this guy deletes. He must be setting records within the COD scene for the amount of tweets it's possible to delete within a 24-hour window. He tweeted this out like, it's all good at CDL Scrimtel, like, you didn't get to it, whatever. I was a little salty the last few days, it is what it is. Deletes this one anyway. Like, all his tweets could disappear. Like, it's actually quite impressive. And this was the last night's rematch then, I guess, between the two teams. OpTic win this one 4-1 in the end. Of course, like, at the end of the day, it's scrims. It doesn't really matter. But people like to keep up with it anyway and see how the teams are going, because you definitely can get a decent indication of where the teams are lying from these early online scrims. Because, this, for example, they played up against Paris, I believe, last night. Might have been last night or the night before, but this was 7-1, right? The only map that was won was Gavutu. They played 2 sets of the hardpoint scrims, 7-1 to OpTic, right? So generally that gives a decent indication, you would imagine, of where these teams lie going into next year. Most of these were relatively comfortable, but yeah, some of them were pretty contentious. This also, we got a Los Angeles Thieves Scrim last night, which has been pretty rare to see, quite honestly. And the LA teams have been kind of in an interesting spot. My prediction is going into next year that like the most overrated team, or the team that's going to be so much worse than people expect to be, is one of the LA teams. I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about that. But I think it might be one of the LA teams that's going to be maybe somewhat overrated coming into the season. Now at LA Thieves, we haven't really seen too much from them, as with LAG, to be honest. This is a 4-3. It goes in the end. I think honestly that there's so much talent on all these squads now, it's tough to say. But yeah, this one went 4-3. Close 4 to fair, it seems, at the end of the day. This also I wanted to mention from Donny Temp, because there was some talk from Kenny. The energy needed to play Respawn in this game is unfathomable. He's not been playing too much, right? Because LA Thieves only really just started to get scrimming, with Octane coming into their team now, and they're all getting ready to go over in the LA side of things now in that cashed up compound. And as Temp says, control are going to be the torch when people start having food breaks. So yeah, definitely maybe some of these scrim sets are going to get kind of crazy. But of course he says control, right? So does he actually know the control's coming? Is he just saying this? Is it like a rumor that he's jumping on the back of? Or like does he actually know and has heard that control is going to be that third game mode for the CDL, and that's what is arriving relatively soon? It wouldn't surprise me, but maybe he's just saying this thing, or maybe he does know the control is arriving, because I think he went on to delete this, right? Which could make a fair bit of sense. This also I wanted to bring up just because I'm sure you guys maybe enjoyed some of the Doug Censor Martin thumbnails the last couple of days. I thought this is fantastic. This was made here from Taz, from Vogue, Shirtless Doug. No Doug, no dub. 4 times Call of Duty champ, never lost to grand finals. I'm better than Scump, all this type of stuff. So yeah, maybe a good thumbnail feature in the future, depending on how things go. Simp's dad actually on the peg here. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And just to finish off with this clip here from Scump, nice finish to one of these scrim sets last night. I thought it was kind of funny, the reply from Formal, really. It was like, Scump always does this thing when he makes a nice play to win a map. He'll always stand up and look at this play. It's a very nice one. He'll always stand up and walk around back and forth, kind of does the victory pose and the pacing, which look at this guy. He does this every single time. It's kind of funny. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video, and as like you should see it as well. And I'm growing the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Oh my god, dude, you're absolutely...
Last two deep, last two, this is close. This is, yeah.
Oh, bro.
One more, Asim.
Hear that?
Yeah, Arcitys ring.
Got him.
Oh my god.
Another one!
The boogeyman! No way he's shaking.